Alright, so music is a big part of our life. We see it in everything we do, whether it's the background noise of a movie, or while you're driving in your car, if you just have the radio on because silence makes you feel awkward, or if it's more commonly at the halftime show of a high school event, or the Super Bowl, like Beyonce, or at any sporting event. That's usually where music comes in as far as performance goes. And at high school events, it's usually marching band. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. And also how to get to that point, so the importance of music education, focused mostly on marching band in high school. I was in band starting in fourth grade up until my senior year. And from my sophomore year until my senior year, I was in marching band. And then I also played in church, like stuff for Christmas Eve service throughout high school. And this past winter, I helped a high school friend do like a winter ensemble with drumline. So I've been pretty experienced in it, and then I've also done some research for this presentation, and I wrote a paper on music education last semester, so I would like to say I know what I'm talking about. Today I'd like to share with you what I learned about music programs and why it's important. There's a lot of benefits of music education. Some of you may probably had to take some sort of basic music class in high school, and it might have seemed boring to you. For me, I loved it because music is something I've always had a passion for, but I realized that that's not something everyone has. But when you don't even really expect it, those music education classes can help you in other subjects. According to Dr. Diana Hollinger, who is the head of the music education department at San Jose State University, the connection of math and music is in the note reading. For instance, quarter, half, and whole notes can be applied to fractions and numbers, as well as symbols can also apply to mathematics. And then also the word reading, so even just the basic reading of lyrics in music class, can apply to language arts, and that's just a few ways that she mentioned. So not only for people who are really interested in music and may not care about math or English, that's helping them. So if you don't care about learning to read and you're in fourth grade, but you're taking a music class where you have to learn the words, you're going to have to read to be able to learn the words. So it helps them. And then it can also go vice versa. If you don't care about music, you're getting that application for your math or English class. Also, it's been proven that students do better in standardized tests. There's a big foundation called VH1 Save the Music. Obviously, it's by VH1, the music channel, but they do a lot just in keeping music programs in schools. And Dr. Christopher Johnson works for them, and he conducted a study that said that elementary students who were in high-level music programs scored 22% better in English on standardized tests and 20% better in math on standardized tests than students who were in under-provided music classes. So it's a proven fact that it's helping you better on those standardized tests that you take to prove that you're learning what you need to do. And the same study also showed that middle school students in high-level instrumental classes scored 19% better in English on standardized tests than students without music programs at all. And that those same middle school students that had the high-level instrumental program scored 32% higher in English than students lacking choir programs. So obviously there's benefits of music in school, but it's not just academically, because when I was in music classes I really didn't care about how it was helping me in other academics. So there's also a social thing to it, and that's when marching band comes in. For me in high school, I joined my sophomore year. In middle school I had a lot of friends, but between sophomore and like between my freshman year and halfway through my sophomore year, I was a little bit of a loner, and had some friends invite me to join marching band, and I wanted to do it in the past and didn't do it. And instantly when I joined my sophomore year, I met, like the first week, I met a handful of friends. And a lot of those guys have turned out to be like some of my good friends even still today. So it's a form of expression for kids, marching band is. A lot of those kids, frankly, are weird and they don't fit in anywhere else. So marching band is like kind of a family. And then as far as performing a show goes, everyone must work together. It's not like some sports where there can be an all-star that can pull the team together. In band, if one person messes up, the whole show looks bad. It's not a sport. I know a lot of people freak out when people call band a sport. I'm not saying it's a sport at all, but it's probably just as difficult, and it's definitely just as time-consuming. When I was in marching band, we would get, after school would get out, you had June, and we would just do our parade things. So for all of like the local carnivals and fairs we would go do parades at. And so you have to learn all of the songs for that, and then that's when a lot of the new kids come in. And marching is a lot harder than you think. You have to all be in step. So most of June is just teaching the new kids how to march, and then you're also learning the parade tunes. Then you get the majority of July off, and then when August hits, it's crazy. That's when band camp is, and you come in at between 8 and 9 in the morning, depending on how nice our director was going to be that day. Usually about 8 o'clock in the morning, and you're usually there until like 4 or 5 at night. So you're there from the amount of time that someone's working a normal job. And throughout that day, first of all, it's August. So if you're outside learning drill, not only are you moving around trying to learn where all your spots are, but you're in the August heat, which usually is pretty hot. And then if you were me, you were carrying a 30-pound bass drum. So that on top of everything was not easy. Band is often a place where kids feel at home, like I said before, and it becomes a family. You work together for months. So you're there from June, you get most of July off, but then you're with each other every day, all day for most of August, and then when school starts, you're in the same classes together for the most part. So it pretty much becomes one big family and relationships really build. Next, I'm going to kind of talk to you about what all goes into making a marching band show. First of all, you have to learn the music, which may seem easy, but you're playing a 7-minute show, and you want to have the perfect balance, like when the director's picking the songs, or the music, you want to have the perfect balance of difficult, but so it doesn't seem like something that you just learned, but it's got to be something that everyone can play, so it's kind of hard picking the music, and then you have to learn it, and there's always parts that you're not going to learn, so it takes a lot of time. So that's really what the first half of August is learning, is just the music. So then, once you get the music done, you feel achieved, and you're like, okay, maybe it's time to go do a show. But then you remember that you have to learn all of the drill. So you're doing this 7-minute show, and they call it sets, so every set is like from one move to the other is a new set. So you're going to have anywhere between 60 to 100 sets, depending on how many moves there are in the show. And some of those sets are farther away from others, so you have a certain amount of time depending on the counts of the music and how many steps you can take to get there, and everyone has to do it as one, so it doesn't look like some big jumbled mess. So it has to be like orchestrated, and it has to run smoothly. So there's times where you have to move from here to where Sue sits in like, a matter of seconds, and you have to take huge steps and have to get there on time and be in step with everyone, so you don't fall out of step. And learning the drill is even harder. So then you learn that, and then you have to do it with the music, which is difficult because you're trying to remember the music you made, and you're out there marching, so you don't have a music stand in front of you, so you have to have the music memorized. Then you have to put it to these this crazy hard drill that you learned that has to be difficult because it has to look good so you can win. So putting the two together is a process in and of itself. Then when you finally get that done, that's usually around the time of the first contest. And contests around here, band is pretty crazy, at least where I went to school. Woodland is the school I went to, and they're kind of known. We won state in 2004. 2008 we got 4th place. 2009 we got 9th place, and then 2010 we didn't go, but they've been back every other year and have gotten in the top 10. So you have to put in a lot of time if you're going to compete at that sort of level. So you're going, by the time you have your drill and your music put together, it's usually by the first Saturday of contests. Saturday contests are literally an all-day thing, so you have to be at the school depending on when you perform. Sometimes 6 in the morning, sometimes 9 in the morning. Be at the place like 3 hours before. Be at the school like 3 hours before you perform. Then you have an individual practice for just drill and an individual practice for just music, and then you go perform your show, and it's all that work for usually a 6 to 7 minute long show. So then by the time you perform your first show, you think you have it pretty well done, but the director usually adds a bunch of stuff. That could be anything from even new sets that he has someone write for you, just because he doesn't like the way the show ends or begins, to just simple visuals. Luckily for me, I was in drumline, so it was mostly just stuff we did with our sticks. For some of the color guard girls that are flipping their flags, they had to do a bunch of weird new flips and stuff. And then for the people who are playing smaller instruments that make you more agile than holding a big drum do, they did different movements with their legs, or they would do like pliés, kind of like dancing. And all of that is to get a better score. So after you have the visuals, then you go out the next week and perform your show, and there's usually something you've forgotten from before. And so marching band isn't some easy thing that you just learn over time. It's a a really long process. And today we learned that music education is important, and that marching band is a hard process that really takes a lot of time to bring the show together. And it may just seem like some dorky kids playing a couple instruments on the field, but marching band is a difficult, time-consuming activity that provides an excellent way for people to express themselves and to share musical talents.